The Chiefs have used rookie running back Brashard Smith out on the perimeter in order to stress defenses. He's a converted wide receiver, so he's got great receiving skills, and he's really agile and quick, which makes him a great option out in open space. Let's look at how they used him against the Raiders, and then we can go back to some plays from earlier this year to see how they've been using him throughout the course of the season. So we're going to start here with 8:51 to go in the first quarter. The Chiefs are still in a 0-0 ball game. They've got Patrick Mahomes in the shotgun. He fakes a handoff to Kareem Hunt and quickly swings it out to Brashard Smith, who gains about 5 yards. So let's look at this play in a little bit more detail. So the Chiefs line up. They've got Pacheco in the backfield. So they're actually got a 2 running back set here. They've got 2 running backs, 1 tight end. That gives you 21 personnel. And then their wide receivers are Tyquan Thornton lined up here and Juju Smith-Schuster in the bunch with Noah Gray. So what they end up doing on this play, they get an RPO action. So they've got Pacheco as an option to hand the ball off immediately. So if you see, the one way that you know it's an RPO and not just a plain play action is that the line is run blocking. So if you look at the offensive line, they're all moving forward. These are not pass sets. They are moving as if they are run blocking, which means that if you're going to throw this pass, you have to do it quickly because the line of scrimmage is here at the 40-yard line. The offensive lineman can't get farther forward than the 41 before a pass is thrown. So they're blocking as if it's a run. They're not trying to stay behind that 41. So you've got to throw that pass before they get there. If you notice, Mahomes definitely does here. The ball's out of his hands here. Nobody's up to the 41-yard line. A wide receiver can be, but linemen cannot. Ineligible receivers cannot. So that's number one. It's an RPO action. Mahomes decides to hold it on this one because he likes what he's got numbers-wise on the left side. They're having Brashard Smith flare out. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to block down. Noah Gray is going to come out to make a block, and then you're going to have one man that Brashard Smith has to make miss. So you watch it here. Here comes Juju. Block. Noah Gray is going to come out and lead. And you're giving your quick guy on the perimeter a chance to make a play here. In this case, the defender does a good job of coming and closing, but still an easy 5 yards for the Chiefs. So in this case, they set it all up by having Smith as part of the bunch. And one thing that you'll notice is they're always going to keep wide receivers with him, or in this case, a tight end and a wide receiver that are good blockers, right? You're typically not going to see like Xavier Worthy out here, right? He's a slight guy. He's a willing blocker, but that's not really his strong suit, especially with a torn labrum. So the wide receivers are usually people like Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashee Rice will probably be in here now, Tyquan Thornton, guys that are kind of effective and willing blockers. But again, you see the concept. We're going to have just the down block. We're going to have block here, and then give Brashard Smith a chance against a guy in space. Easy 5 yards for the offense. You can see it here from the end zone view. Again, quick throw, RPO action. You can see how if you're just watching the line, this looks like a run play. Everybody firing off the ball, coming forward. Quick pass. Easy 5 yards. So we get an example of how the Chiefs can utilize this threat to stress defenses on the very next play. If you notice, the Chiefs are in the exact same formation with the exact same personnel. Patrick Mahomes is in the shotgun. He takes a snap, pumps as if he's going to throw to Brashard Smith, and throws it downfield to Noah Gray, who gets a big gain, 28-yard gain, and a first down into the red zone. All right, so what do the Chiefs do here? Well, they have the exact same kind of idea. So, again, same personnel. We've got Isaiah Pacheco and Brashard Smith are our 2 running backs. Noah Gray is the tight end. That's 21 personnel. Juju Smith-Schuster is over in the bunch, and Tyquan Thornton is here isolated. And they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to flare Brashard Smith out. they're going to have Juju come over as if he's going to do the same blocking action, and Noah Gray as if he's going to do the same blocking action. But this time they run past the people that they're supposedly blocking and run out into pass routes. So let's watch that real quick. So look, here comes Juju, here comes Noah Gray. So both of them run out in the pass routes. And Patrick Mahomes, if you see, he pumps over to Brashard Smith, who also like fakes as if he's catching the ball over here. And look at what it does to the defenders. Particularly look at these two. So you get the pump over there. This defender drops down and completely releases Noah Gray, lets him go. And this defender comes down as well, looking for that play. They just saw the screen to Brashard Smith, literally the previous play. And then they release Juju. Mahomes has his pick. You know, he's got Juju and Noah Gray running free. He picks down the sideline, which is smart, more room to run. And Noah Gray makes a catch and gets down the field for a 28-yard gain. The other part of this that's very important to note, look at the offensive line here. They're not run blocking this time. This isn't an RPO. They are pass blocking here because this is more slow developing. They can't go past the line of scrimmage, that yard past the line of scrimmage. They'll be inelligibly downfield. So the first play was an RPO. You know, there was an option there. This time they know it's a pass play, so the line's actually dropping back and pass blocking. And Mahomes pumps. That gives him time to actually read the defense because he doesn't have to worry about the line getting downfield. And a nice, easy completion to Noah Gray down the sideline. So they use that threat of Smith on the sideline to get defenders to come up and then send receivers down past them for easy completions. You can see it here from the end zone view. Really appreciate, look how different the blocking looks up here. Everybody's backpedaling into pass sets, and Mahomes with a quick look over there, the pump. And then he looks downfield and sees Gray. Easy completion. So you already see some wrinkles off of the initial action that they used with Brashard Smith. So let's go to 5:01 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Chiefs are up 14-0, and they have a 1st and 10 at their own 27-yard line or so. So we've got Mahomes in the shotgun and empty. He takes a snap and quick throw to the left of Brashard Smith, cuts it upfield, and ultimately gets tackled just shy of the 45-yard line. So we've got a different entry point, a different way to get Smith the ball on the perimeter. This time, if you see, Smith is the only running back on the field. The Chiefs are actually lined up in 12 personnel again. They've got one running back, Brashard Smith, and they've got two tight ends, Noah Gray and Travis Kelce, and then two wide receivers. This looks like Juju on this side, and that looks like Xavier Worthy. So Mahomes, in this case, he just picks up the snap, quick throw over to his left, and this time you've got the entire team just screaming over to lead block here. So they're trying to create a convoy for him. So rather than before when you just had like the pass catchers on that side trying to set up a numbers game, here you've got everybody, the pass catchers, the line, everybody moving over. So if you see Juju gets out ahead trying to get the corner, Noah Gray comes out and tries to get Jamal Adams here, the safety, and then that's giving time for the offensive line to move down the field. I mean, look, you've got Kingsley out here, you've got Creed out here, Jalen Moore, Mike Caliendo's coming out here. Like, everybody is creating a convoy, and the way that he was able to, I think Jalen Moore in particular, kind of getting enough but then of this player to block him, but then continuing to get downfield, and then Noah Gray creating this block here gave a nice little cutback lane that Brashard Smith, this is where that kind of vision and agility of a running back meets the pass catching and ability out in space of a wide receiver. And he's just follows his blocks and actually manages to run to daylight. If Mike Caliendo is able to make this block here on Jeremy Chin, he's going to take this to the house. Like, Brashard Smith's going to score. Unfortunately, Caliendo isn't quite able to make this play, and Brashard Smith gets tackled by the last line of defense. But he's one block away from this would have been like a 77-yard touchdown or whatever. But again, a nice different way to get Brashard Smith the ball on the perimeter, continuing to make defenses have to cover all the way to the sideline. And Andy Reid with his West Coast sensibilities loves this. So look at the line, everybody getting on their horse, and it's really, this gap is created. I think a lot of credit here to Jalen Moore for doing enough to block his man here and then to keep things going. So he gets enough of 51 that 51 can't make the tackle, and then he leads Smith down the field. Smith very patiently kind of goes through, and again, if only this block could have been made. And Smith, to his credit, really tries to set up the defender anyway. Look at him trying to make a cut here to see if he can get by, and it's a good tackle by Jeremy Chin. If Chin hadn't gotten him, that he's gone. So let's go back to week 4 now, and let's see some other usage of Brashard Smith on these perimeter plays. So this is the second quarter against the Ravens. The Chiefs have the ball in Ravens territory. You got Patrick Mahomes in the shotgun. He's got Pacheco with him, and they motion Brashard Smith from the right side over to the left. Mahomes swings it over to him quickly, and he gains a couple yards on a quick screen. So see, now we're getting Brashard Smith to the perimeter in a different way, and this is actually how they were utilizing this more early in the season. So whereas in the Raiders game, we were seeing him lined up out here or lined up in a condensed split, here he's lined up on the other side of the field, and they actually move him on an end-around motion and then swing the ball to him. So he's coming around, shifting the defense, and again, Juju and Thornton, these are receivers that they tend to use that are good blockers. They're coming up, and you're trying to create an alley for Brashard Smith to get to where he might only have one man to miss, and hopefully that's a second-level defender. So in this case, Juju and Thornton actually do a pretty good job. Juju gets blown off by his blocker a little bit, but Thornton does a good enough job, but he gets pushed back just enough that Smith's not able to avoid him. He does create a path, but he gets pushed back more than Smith's anticipating, and I think that's what blows this play up. The Ravens did pursue pretty well, though. You can see that even if he gets past here, they were able to get numbers over. This is a well-coached team, the Ravens, so they did pursue this play pretty well. Here it is again, the quick throw over, and Juju normally does quite a good job blocking defensive backs, but he met his match on this one, and then Thornton got moved back just enough that Smith couldn't avoid his feet. But again, another way that they're getting Brashard Smith involved in the perimeter, this time by using the motion around and getting a quick pass to him over there. Now we can see one from the third quarter, week 5 at Jacksonville. This time Mahomes is with Kareem Hunt. He's got 3 on his left, Tyquan Thornton on his right. Takes a snap, quick throw out to Brashard Smith, and he manages to evade defenders and get a first down here. So on this one, this looks a little bit more like what we were seeing early against the Raiders. We've got the trips, we've got Juju, Noah Gray, and Brashard Smith, and we have another running back. So this is, again, 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. Thornton is isolated on this side. Noah Gray and Juju are over here at Smith. So it's similar personnel to what we saw against the Raiders, except that Kareem Hunt's in the backfield here instead of Isaiah Pacheco. And this one, if you notice this, we're back to the RPO action. The line is coming up and they're run blocking again. So this one, there is the option to hand this off if Mahomes doesn't like the numbers. And this time, the kind of action from the receivers is different. So if you remember, against the Raiders, Juju was up here, Noah Gray was here. And they were leaving the end unblocked, and Noah Gray was coming from the inside to block down, and Juju was... Sorry, no, that's actually not true. Juju was coming from the point to block down, and Noah Gray was coming out. And so here the roles are reversed here, that Noah Gray is leading, but they're both blocking out here. They're trying to get to the perimeter rather than taking out the pursuit defender, which is what Juju did last time. So the kind of blocking assignments are different here. This time Noah Gray's leading out, Juju's coming out, but again, and Smith is able to wheel around and get to the sideline, which allows him to get the first down. So again, I mean, on these plays, it's so clear, the agility and the quickness that Brashard Smith has in the open field, which makes him such a threat on these plays out to the sideline. So again, here's the RPO action. You see the line all run blocking, so Mahomes has to make this throw quickly. Gets it off quickly to Smith, who does a good job navigating around his blockers and getting a big gain. We are again in the fourth quarter against the Jaguars. This time the formation is flipped. We got the trips to the right side. Pacheco's in the backfield now with Mahomes. He takes the snap, quick throw over to Brashard Smith, who cuts it up and gets about 5 or 6 yards this time. So again, we're kind of showing you the same thing. This time flip the field, slightly different personnel. We've got Pacheco in the backfield here. This time Robert Tonyan is the tight end up there instead of Noah Gray. But they used the same blocking action that they did in the previous play we just looked at. This time Tonyan goes and Juju follows again. This one again is an RPO action. You're going to see the line is coming up. They're run blocking, so there's the option to hand this off. Mahomes likes the numbers, so he throws it to Smith. And if you look, what happened last time was Noah Gray blocked this guy and Juju came outside to get this guy. But in this case, this is why Juju is such a nice open field blocker. He kind of adjusts to what makes the most sense in this situation. He's not just playing one assigned guy. So here, with Tonyan pushing this guy out and this guy staying a little bit to the outside, Juju actually comes and tries to block the pursuit man. And Brashard Smith follows him and gets a gain of about 5 or 6 yards. So again, conceptually very similar to what we saw earlier against the Jaguars. Another RPO, run block, get Juju and the tight end out there and try to get yardage for Brashard Smith. All right, so let's go to week 6 against the Lions. This time we're in the third quarter. We've got Mahomes in shotgun, 2 to his right, 2 to his left. They motion Brashard Smith over. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Again, quick screen to Brashard Smith on the sideline. This time he has a pretty sizable gain of about 9 yards. So this is, again, looking very similar to the action against the Raiders, but we get to it in a different way. Instead of having Juju, the tight end, this time it's Travis Kelce, and Brashard Smith lined up here, we start Brashard Smith on the right and actually motion him over to the offense's left at the snap. But we're really creating the same formation that we would see in the Raiders game the next week. We've got Smith, tight end on the inside, Juju on the outside, or Juju at the point. So Juju, again, comes in and he blocks he kind of down blocks, and then Travis Kelce comes out to get the outside man. Again, this is an RPO. Look at the line run blocking here. So there's the option to hand this off, and again, the pass has to be quick. So Mahomes quickly gets it out there. Now you've got Juju block, you've got Kelce blocking a guy, and then here with them kind of leading toward the sideline, there's a chance that you can outrun the pursuit. It's tough, but when you have this guy come inside, then you're really counting on Brashard Smith making one guy miss. When you try to take it to the outside, you're hoping you can wall everything off, and it's possible that he gets a free run. It's tough. I mean, the pursuit defenders are going to get there, as is what happened here. So Smith, again, big gain here. So the Chiefs are really dressing this up, but finding creative ways to get to the same thing. Getting him in space, getting him a couple blockers, and trying to set it up so he's got just one man to beat. Now we're in the fourth quarter against the Lions. Again, we've got the 2x2, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, and motion Brashard Smith over. Same idea as last time. Again, they run the RPO, get it out to Brashard Smith, who again gets about 9 yards or so. So really not a lot different conceptually from the last time. We've got Brashard Smith on the right, Kelsey on the inside, Juju on the outside. They motion over so you get the same formational idea as we saw against the Raiders. Juju's going to block down, Kelsey's going to get this guy, and then they're going to let Brashard Smith try to find his path through. Again, it's an RPO. Look at the line, run blocking here. Always the option to hand it off to Pacheco in this situation, but Mahomes gets it off quick and lets Brashard Smith do his magic. And again, about 9 yards he gained there. From the end zone view, you can see the run blocking. You can see the run action here. Quick pass over to Smith. And again, good blocking downfield from Kelsey and Juju. Easy 9 yards for the Chiefs. Later in the fourth quarter against the Lions, we've got Mahomes in the shotgun. This time he's got 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Pacheco in the backfield with him here. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, gets it out to Brashard Smith on the perimeter again. This time a gain of about 4-ish yards, 3 or 4 yards. And now we have another difference in formation. So another way to dress it up to get us here. Again, the same kind of guys are out here, right? Always good blockers. We got Noah Gray and Juju Smith-Schuster. We're still in that 21 personnel. Tyquan Thornton over here, Pacheco in the backfield. This time they've got Brashard Smith in the near slot. Juju, instead of just blocking his man, actually runs a route to draw his man down the field and kind of remove him from the picture. Then we've got Noah Gray blocking here, and the man to miss is the one who's assigned man-to-man on Brashard Smith. This is particularly creative in this situation when you've got single high man because there isn't really a deep safety on this side. So if things work quickly, there's a chance that Brashard Smith can break this and really go. Again, it's an RPO action, so the line is run blocking. You see him here. Everybody run blocking. There is a run action, an option if desired. This time Smith has to turn the other way quickly because he's like getting on his horse and getting out there rather than being behind the blockers. He's the most inside guy, so he's really got to get on his horse and get out. So he goes out, rotates, makes the catch. Good ball placement here from Mahomes so he can catch it while rotating out and step face forward. And then as we see, Juju runs his man down the sideline, and so you essentially have one-on-one. In this case, Smith isn't able to get his guy to miss, but you see when there's a single high safety, if Smith gets a quick alley, like there's a chance he just takes this all the way. In this case, he manages to get 4 or 5 yards. But again, a quick gain here and another situation just stressing the defense horizontally, making them cover the whole field. And then this is where wrinkles on top of it become interesting. We saw the wrinkle against the Raiders. The Chiefs have actually used several other wrinkles. Interestingly, some of them they used before they actually started using the screens to Smith very extensively. So let's take a look at some of those. All right, so this is from week 1 in Brazil against the Chargers. This is the second quarter of the game. This one, we've got Mahomes in empty. He's got 2 to his left, 3 to his right. He motions Brashard Smith over. Smith runs over to the right, and Mahomes throws a slant to Hollywood Brown on the left side. So here the play is set up. We're moving Smith over to get him over to that side where you have 3 wide receivers that, if you notice, they kind of set up ready to block. Actually, there's a tight end there. That's Noah Gray. So again, it's always these guys, right? It's Thornton, it's Juju, it's Noah Gray, these guys that are known good blockers. So they set up so that Gray is out here, Thornton's coming in, and Juju's ready to lead. But instead of actually going with that action, and this is not an RPO, if you see the line here is pass blocking, right? Everybody's pass blocking. Juwan Taylor even cuts on this side to try to make an easier throw, right? You're always worried on that lateral pass if the defensive end can come in and knock it down or sometimes even intercept it. So a lot of times you cut block that end to try to get his hands down, make sure that he's not going to bat this ball down. But on the backside, they've got a slant to Hollywood Brown. And so if you notice, when they have the action to Brashard Smith, the linebackers flow over that way, creating a void in the middle of the field. So it's nice you have this slant on the back end, and the hope is, in this case, there's zone defense, but especially if they're playing man, you break a tackle, there's a chance for a big play here. So that's a nice wrinkle off of this Brashard Smith action, and you can see we get a really nice all-22 end zone cam for this game. Look at how much the defense is shifting this way. Everybody's shifting this way with the action, and so you get this nice void for the slant on the backside. So here's one way in which the Brashard Smith action can really open things up in the other parts of the field and allow you to try different things off of that action. All right, now this is from the fourth quarter of the Chiefs-Chargers game in Brazil. It's when Mahomes has 3 to his right, 2 to his left. Again, they motion Brashard Smith over like we saw earlier. Mahomes drops back, rolls to his right, and he throws it down to Kelsey, who runs it all the way in for a touchdown. So if you'll notice, this is conceptually similar to what happened against the Raiders. In this case, they motion Brashard Smith over so that the motion is set up exactly like before. However, this time you have Juju Smith-Schuster attached so that he can kind of help block on the end for the longer developing route rather than go out and lead block. But you have otherwise Thornton and Kelsey doing the same thing, looking like they're coming out, but this time Kelsey, instead of blocking the linebacker as everybody's coming in, he just sneaks by as everyone is focused on Brashard Smith and gets into the void. Easy throw there for Mahomes, just over the outstretched arms of the linebacker, and Kelsey just jogs that into the end zone. So it's similar conceptually to what they did with Noah Gray against the Raiders. Get the defense all looking down at Brashard Smith. Allow your tight end to just sneak by. Take it all the way for a touchdown in this case. One thing that's kind of even more interesting about this play is that once Smith moves over and this corners rotate, and now you have a corner over condensed, they actually get a blitz from this side and get a free runner, and Mahomes just calmly rolls out to the right in order to buy enough time. He avoids the blitzer for long enough, trusting Juju and Jawan Taylor to take care of, this looks like Khalil Mack over here. Rotates, basically just runs away for the blitz long enough to make sure that Kelsey can get open. Throw that for a touchdown. So again, this was week 1. This was before they were doing as many of the actual screens, but they were threatening it, and that was enough at the time to get defenders to bite and to open things up, like this touchdown to Kelsey. Now we move to the Giants game in week 3 in New York. This is the first quarter of the Chiefs-Giants game. Mahomes is in the shotgun. He's got 1 to his left, 3 to his right. He motions Brashard Smith over to the right, looks there, and then throws a middle screen to Juju Smith-Schuster, breaks a tackle, and gets a pretty big gain here into Giants territory. So, again, getting to it from a slightly different way, and we have slightly more personnel here. So we've got 3 already out here. We've got Thornton, Juju, and Hollywood Brown, and this time we start with Brashard Smith in the backfield and motion him over. So he gets motioned over. Again, line pass blocking here. So, this is just a standard pass play. Mahomes looks over in his direction, in Brashard Smith's direction, and then throws a no-look pass over to Juju. And as this action is happening, again, look at where the line of scrimmage is. It's the 35. So again, our offensive line would have to be very patient because they cannot get to past the 36-yard line before Mahomes has thrown this ball. So Creed and Trey Smith kind of bide their time here. And then as Mahomes, once he's released it, this is all about timing. Then they're able to get up ahead. And Juju comes in for the middle screen with 2 blockers. The Chiefs actually get this pretty well positioned. Really, the only guy with it that's unaccounted for is the safety back here. And then Juju's trying to make something happen. Gets a big gain here. But again, the threat of Brashard Smith widens the defender. Again, everybody's out wide here, and that creates room back in the middle for this middle screen, and it's just the timing is set up perfectly. But again, Andy Reid keeping everybody on their toes. This perimeter action to Brashard Smith has been very important in the offense this year in creating these kinds of wrinkles. In this case, it got space up the middle for Juju in his middle screen to get a big first down here. Apparently, according to Jeff Schwartz, Andy Reid, which makes sense, he has a ton of attention to detail on these screens about where you stand, how long you stand. Everything here is timing, because if the linemen get downfield too soon, this is a penalty. So it's all waiting the requisite amount of time. They release right after the ball is thrown. They get in position, and Juju makes something happen after the catch. Now for a final wrinkle, we'll go to the third quarter of the Chiefs-Lions game. We've got Mahomes in the shotgun. He's got two running backs, one receiver to the left, two to the right. Fakes the action of Brashard Smith to the right and throws a screen back left to Kareem Hunt, who gets inside the 10-yard line for first and goal. All right, so in this case, they're kind of running their, this is more of their typical, running back release from the flat, almost like mesh concept, where sometimes they'll send these guys on crossers against man, sometimes they'll send them on digs in order to draw defenders and have the running back get a free run out to the sideline. This case, this ends up being zone defense, so that concept isn't as effective in this situation, but they flare Brashard Smith out to the right again to try to get defensive action, and instead the real concept here is a screen to the left side to Kareem Hunt. They get it out to Hunt. Creed Humphrey gets downfield as a blocker. Trace Smith is helping to prevent pursuit, and Hunt manages to get all the way down inside the 10-yard line for a first down. See it here. There's the release from Creed. And Mahomes does make a gesture over to the Brashard Smith side over here before throwing the screen back left. So as you can see, the Chiefs are using this outside motion to Brashard Smith a lot. This trying to get him the ball out in the perimeter. But equally important is the number of wrinkles and advantages that they're giving themselves by defense's attention to this action. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do. How do they build on this for the rest of the year? What more has Andy Reid got cooked up with this Brashard Smith action, using the athleticism of the rookie to move the ball down the field, both by using him in reality and using him as a decoy?